Hi, and welcome back to Examining Medicine from traditional to alternative and beyond. I'm your host, Dr. Franchelle Hamilton, and we are in the Limelight TV. I'm really excited to talk about our guest today, Ambika Devi, and she's going to talk to us all about taming the mind in order to live the best version of ourselves. This is what she does. She specializes in this. She actually takes a different approach and she coaches using astrology. So I'm very curious to talk to her about that. She helps people focus the mind to live a greater level of health and happiness. And so that's what we're going to focus on today and get this knowledge from her. I love your name. We've talked about this earlier. And so thank you for being on the show.
Oh, Franchelle, thank you so much for inviting me and finding me. And thank you to everybody who's listening, whether it's right now or in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's get started. So how did you kind of get into the area specifically of taming the mind? Why did you feel like that was important to kind of educate people on?
Well, taming the mind for me, what I mean when I'm saying it, Franchelle, is about meditation. And
Okay.
it's about the byproduct, the end gift of meditation, which is having a better relationship with the mind. And
Yeah.
as a yogi or yogini, let's use the universal term yogi, uh, there are many practices. And these practices can come from the physical exercise style practice of yoga, but there's a vast philosophy there. And then meditation, which is why we do all the postures so that we can find a seat and a calmness. And there are other styles because we've seen them pop up, right? All over
Mhm.
the place
Yeah.
of video and audio. And quite truthfully, I call it a meditation podcast, Meditate with Ambika. But there I'm doing what I would call creative visualization, guided meditation, mixed in with a traditional style called Yoga Nidra and also some hypnosis, which I studied and became part of this whole path years and years ago. When I
Wow.
was working in holistic health, hands on body clinic, I realized that so much was going on in people's minds, which was involved in either what was going on right now that was critical or what might be something that they've been carrying for a while. And I noticed back then that I really, really liked talking to people. And I kind of morphed into utilizing my skills in astrology, which is a sister science to yoga. The three
Wow.
sisters are yoga, Ayurveda. You've probably heard of Ayurveda, right?
Yeah.
Which most people now who are just learning about it or maybe a little bit into it or associating more with the body, but it's also your physical space. So if you've heard of feng shui, there's a part of Ayurveda which involves your space and your lifestyle and also
Yeah.
sleep, because
Yeah.
the three pillars of Ayurveda are what you're eating, which is what we call diet. We don't
Yes.
see a diet as something you go on.
Yeah, correct.
It's your regime. It's what you're already, what your clear choices are once you find them. So if you're moving into it, then you're taking your time and step by step experimenting with some things. And then there's sleep.
Yeah.
So what you're eating, your lifestyle, and that's everything, the music, the media, the colors that you surround yourself with. Are you going out in nature? There's so much in Ayurveda. And
Wow.
there's so much more in yoga beyond putting on some stretchy pants and assuming a pretzel position.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I want to get back real quick on you how you made that transition because I think that's interesting. So prior to doing this and kind of focusing more on mind rejuvenation and all that stuff through meditation, you were actually practicing holistic health. So kind of define that and tell me exactly some of the things that you were doing in that practice.
In the practice of holistic health, I was a massage therapist, shiatsu also, so Eastern and Western. I've always had a fascination for both. And in pretty much everything I've
Okay.
studied, whether it was herbology or hands on massage, pathology, aromatherapy, I've gone both ways on it, and also in astrology. So I really like to cross compare because I'm not of the type that would want to argue one side. I like to argue
Hmm.
all sides. I like to know all of the information because I find that it's in that crossing over of the disciplines. And then even before that, when I was a kid, Franchelle, I went to Quaker schools and we sat for 1 hour once a week if it was a day school. But I also did go to boarding school where we also sat on the weekend for a 2 hour stretch. And
Ooh,
that's
wow.
meditative.
Yeah.
That's meditating. And it wasn't called meditating.
Yeah.
It's a non deity based spiritual practice that they have, and they
Yeah.
gave me an amazing education. But I started that at 6 years old, of
Wow.
sitting still for an hour once a week at day school,
Yeah.
and that became a sanctuary at 6 years old. Six
Yeah.
years old. Come on, think about this,
I was gonna
everybody.
say, like,
Let's
that's really
just
early.
imagine for a moment a room full of first graders,
Yeah.
right? 6 and 7,
For 1 hour at that. Like, I didn't even know that was
once a
possible.
week, and
Wow.
enjoying it,
Yeah.
because it was on Wednesday mornings. On Tuesday mornings, we had sing-alongs. Everybody in the lower school sang together
Yeah.
for an hour. On Wednesdays, we sat quietly. It was just such a cool co- contrast and community builder and health elevator. And why, tell me, Franchelle, why are we not doing this everywhere with
Yeah.
children? the
Yeah.
the kinds of things that I teach adults now is the stuff I wish you were taught as a child.
Yes, I agree. And that's one of the
And
reasons for probably your podcast. That's one of the reasons for my podcast and show is to bring about other perspective, other ways. Things that if we started a lot of some of the things early on, we would have been a lot better off as adults. We would have been a lot happier, a lot healthier, a more whole, and here we are as adults. And your practice is probably adults also, where we're trying to almost like kind of take off some of the layers that were put on us or what we didn't learn as kids. And so here you are in this kind of holistic health, having multiple different perspectives on it. And you decided to kind of move over more into this area. What kind of triggered that for you? Did you feel like you weren't getting what you wanted for your clients in that way, or what drove you to switch?
I don't think it was just a snap decision. I think there were many,
Yeah.
many teachers in my path and many personal experiences with a variety of things that brought me from that little kid who started sitting and then later in that first grade year witnessed people doing yoga excuse me, people doing yoga for a May Day celebration, and just knowing and saying to the kid next to me, I'm going to do that. Looking
Yeah.
at these people doing yoga and saying, ah, that's what I'm supposed to do. And here I'm 6 years, just barely 7 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was a knowing. There's always been a knowing. And then when I was 7 also, I got a deck of tarot cards. I asked for them. Why does a 7-year-old do this?
Yeah.
But bless my mother's heart, our deal was I could pick out a book and it came with a book. And she said, well, it comes with a book. So yep, you can have it.
Yeah.
Because she would take me out for a book date once a month to buy a book.
Yeah.
And I picked it. I went out of the kids department and, back to the back of the adults, the regular bookstore.
Yeah.
And she kept following me and trying to get me back, and I went for the tarot cards. So this fascination started way back, way, way,
Yeah.
way back.
Started early
And
for you.
as I received my formal education, I was also quite voracious reader, and I would read esoteric things like Ruth Montgomery's books. I read all of her books when I was 9 years old in fourth grade.
Oh,
So,
wow.
this is stuff that, and then Carlos Castaneda next. And then just then I got into philosophy. It just kept going. And I've always loved science too. And for me, I get it. A lot of people with astrology cannot really justify things with astronomy and or get the astronomy correct. Everybody's got great intention, and the ones who really study the astronomy and study a particular style of timekeeping, because that's what a zodiac is, and then a certain mythology set that creates an astrology system. And I don't get into the debates of this one's better than that one, this one's not right. They're all ways of keeping time, and they all have the reasoning for why they're doing it the way they're doing it. There's so many. I get
Yeah.
more and more interested in more versions because so many cultures have this.
So, how do you use that astrology in your coaching and helping people with meditation and mindset?
The the astrologer's job is to read the stuff. So it's really about finding the system that speaks to you, and uh, you then have the ability to identify things for an individual or whatever has a day, a time, and a location. Could be an idea, could
Yeah.
be a business contract, could be when you met someone, or maybe you're planning a date for something like a book release or a product release or some sort of event. And if we think of it as a timekeeper, and then each planet could be like a player or like a seed in a garden, each sign is like a stage where the actors perform, or the script that those are the houses, the stages, or the gardens. And then the signs are like what colors it, and gives the sense of how it's going to go. And then the astrologer's job is to be able to look at it and identify, okay, you want this, but this is a little weak here. So, how to tap into things even beyond the astrology in the environment with daily practice, and looking at the sister sciences at how a person can achieve what it is they're wanting. I'm not of the school of, oh, forget it. It's really weak in your chart, give it up.
Yeah.
You can't do it. But if it is going to be a challenge, I'll say so. Or if there's a time period, because it's also about what's going on right now and what's transiting. And it holds a lot of information about location. So people often ask me about where to move, especially if they've got a couple ideas or a few offers.
Like move like
It
for
helps.
jobs or for work?
And move their families, move their
Yeah,
living,
okay.
move
Like to another
themselves.
location. Yeah.
Yeah. Or with locational astrology, things like, say you're doing a tour of some sort, you might want to really look at where the best places to begin and end are, and then a progression and what each location holds for you, and the people in the location itself, and that can kind of color what it is you're going to focus on in your campaigning or even your presentations.
Okay. So that's the way it works for you. People have kind of an idea already in their head, and then they come to you and you kind of help them focus it on where or what direction it should go. And this practice somehow brings about better health and happiness. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's just one little angle. I could
Yeah.
also help with branding. I also can help with changes,
Yeah.
transformation. I've been doing this for a while, or a high school kid. I plenty of times have talked to children and kids kind of getting ready to think about, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to focus on?
Yeah.
And so career shifting is
Yeah.
a big topic. But the number one topic, Franchella, is relationships. And when relationships in our life are going well, our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with people very close to us, the world as a greater, when everything is a relationship. That's
Yeah.
what I wrote my master's thesis on.
Yeah. No, I
Is like,
agree. I agree with that.
you can't really move away from it. And it's
Yeah.
also, that's my first book. It's based on that, just about relationships.
Yeah.
And that is what makes us happy.
Yeah. No, I
And
agree.
I think happy and health go together. Do you have to be healthy to be happy? No, you can find happiness
Yep.
in illness and
Yep.
gratitude. It's a lot of it is gratitude.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's mindset, right? Like how you think about things, how you look at things. Um, the other thing I wanted to go into, which is kind of important for me, is you help people who have difficulty sleeping get better sleep. And we all know sleep has so many different effects on the body and how important sleep is. I am also probably one who probably need more sleep. So how do you help people get more sleep?
Believe it or not, one of the best solutions is take a break in the day. So with guided meditations, and I just give that to you, that's for free on my podcast, everybody. Meditate with Ambika. Just
Yeah.
at pretty much any platform you want to stream it on. And take a break, lie down, listen to a 15, a 20-minute splurge for 30 minutes, and come out of it feeling like you've had up to 4 hours of deep sleep. Why not? And
Wow, really?
yeah, so that's, I think some of it, Franchelle, is habitual. Like, we weren't really taught this. I don't know about you, but when I was a little kid, we had nap time, we had a chill time during the
Yeah.
day where everybody had a nap and then we had a snack
Yeah.
after.
Yep.
Do you remember? Why did
Yeah,
we
and I do
stop?
that. I do that with my kids now. I'm like, quiet time,
Yeah.
especially when we were homeschooling because of the pandemic. I'm like, everybody needs a break, like 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours. We're like, you can go read, you can go do whatever you want to do. My younger kids napped. So that's interesting because we don't really carry that into adulthood. I feel like in general, this society is so go, go, go that we don't really take time to take a break. And you're not necessarily saying taking a nap as though we did as kids,
You
but
could, you
taking a
could,
mental
you
break.
could. Well,
Yeah.
if you take a nature break, go outside,
Yeah.
sit. If you're standing and moving a lot, go outside and be still in nature. If you're sitting a lot, go outside and move around in nature.
Yeah.
Breathe the air, listen to the sounds of nature, soak in some sunlight, and just connect with the world. And then that will help. Breathing exercises, taking little breathing breaks, centering. Here I was as a little kid. We were all sitting quietly. We were doing activities together that centered us together, that grounded us together. And what was that? That was mindfulness training.
Yeah.
We were learning to be in the present moment with each other.
Yeah.
And that creates a peaceful, loving community. Why aren't we doing this with everybody?
I was
Well,
going to
I'm not just
say,
saying,
we
I'm
don't
not
do
saying
this anymore.
kids. I'm not saying just kids,
I
but
agree.
what about, like, if you went to work with your, even, if you're in Zoom or you're back in an office,
Yeah.
just taking a time out in the morning center, get centered, grounded, and focused on a collective vision. Imagine the productivity.
Yeah. 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 I can imagine because you're right. Like people don't do this anymore. They don't do it during the day. They don't take time to be in the present, kind of like what you said. And it's amazing how you're saying by just taking that break during the day, it can have a ripple effect on so many other aspects of your life. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit, what you've seen in your practice?
I believe that things like, well, it's definitely going to affect your choice making.
Yeah.
So wherever that is in need of adjustment is likely to see an adjustment.
Yeah.
Whether it's what you're eating, or are you getting enough physical activity, exercise? Are you bathing enough? Are you drinking enough water? A lot of people find success putting pop-up reminders on their phone calendars
Hmm.
so that they can start to create the habits. And sunlight is so important, because
Yeah.
this helps with the biorhythms of the body.
Yeah.
And when we're
Expand on
in
that.
biorhythms, are energetic rhythms that our body moves through cyclically, and they're at a variety of different timings.
Yeah.
So there's an emotional biorhythm, a physical biorhythm, and an intellectual biorhythm. Different organs through, and this is technology information from traditional Chinese medicine or traditional Oriental medicine, whichever you prefer to call it, of circadian rhythms of organs when certain are at their peak, and it's
Hmm.
that's when you can connect with them more profoundly, and
Yeah.
others are more at a rest time. And when we're more in sync with the natural rhythms that are denoted to us by the sun and darkness of our days, it's tough. I mean, I do believe, though, there
Yeah.
are some that are nocturnal. I have met nocturnal people
Yeah.
that that they really function better at night. But we really, I think, for the most part, are meant to move with nature. So the more we can connect with it, the better in sync we can be with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Thank you for giving us all this knowledge. You have a course too that you teach for insomniac specifically, calling End
And
Envy.
and sleep envy.
In sleep envy, which is so timely. I like that. And so you have this course that you can help people to get better rest at night because there's so many positive benefits for it. You've already gave us nuggets here on how to kind of help that by taking breaks and being mindful and finding inner peace during the day will help with our sleep at night. But where can they find this course and more information about you and what you have to offer?
The course can be found on my coaching site, which is my first name, Ambika, Ambika, with an S on the end because it's Ambika's coaching, and the word coaching, Coaching. So
Yeah.
ambikascoaching.com, and you'll see the course there, and Sleep Envy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's great. Thank you so much for sharing this knowledge. I love getting a different take on things. I mean, that's why I like having different guests because it's not always kind of what we think it may be. And so shedding some light on the different aspects and different
Mm.
realms and, and being able to use that energy to help other people. I think that's great. I thank
Well, as
you.
far as the sleep course, every day I give you a different guided meditation using a combination of yoga nidra, creative visualization, and hypnosis. And
Okay.
they're in different styles because over the years, I've been making guided meditations for people, for private clients, and also for groups. And so I've collected feedback, and I've discovered certain styles work for some people, other styles work for other people. So I give a
Okay.
variety. You'll most definitely find several that you love. And then every day, I give you a video about things that I've done in my environment or with my lifestyle or even with my diet, just giving you information of my own experience because I can be a really light sleeper.
Yeah.
And I can be that person who wakes up in what seems like the middle of the night and then is not getting back to sleep.
Yeah.
So these are techniques that I use so I can get back to sleep. And
Yeah.
what I've been teaching to other people, and then what I've learned from other people too over the years,
No, I think
because
that's going to be great. I think that's
it's
very
different for
helpful. Thank you
everybody.
for sharing that. Yeah.
Sure. And I offer a gift to your audience?
Yeah, I'm sure they would love that.
Okay. So if you use Ambika helps me sleep, all lowercase, Ambika helps me sleep as a coupon, you'll get a huge discount on the course. And you can give
Oh.
that to a friend if you want.
Oh, wow, that's great. Thank you so much. We will also put that in our show notes too. So if you didn't get it or you are confused, it'll also be on our in our show notes on how you can get that coupon code so you can help yourself or maybe help one of your loved ones who you know are struggling. Thank you. Thank you very much.